Well, Victorian Liberal MP Moira Leeming is set to be expelled from the party over her involvement in an anti-transgender rally outside the state's parliament. The protest was crashed by a group of neo-Nazis who repeatedly performed the Nazi salute and clashed with police. The Victorian government is considering banning the Nazi salute in the aftermath of the incident. The swastika has already been banned. Joining us live now is the chair of the Anti-Defamation Commission, Dr. Dvir Abramovich. Doctor, good to see you. Thanks for your time this morning. So, yeah, that Nazi salute, it was front and centre on the weekend. What were your initial thoughts on that?
Well, I think it may be an uncomfortable truth for some, but the reality is that the genie of anti-Semitism and neo-Nazism is out of the bottle, and it's not going to be so easy to put it back. Look, I was shocked, and I was thinking that our brave diggers who died to defeat Hitler must be turning in their graves, knowing that we've got these hardcore white supremacists marching in the streets of Melbourne, are able to go into the steps of Parliament House and give the Nazi salute without consequence. The fact is they have the law on their side. And I think this is an unthinkable reality. Enough is enough. Melbourne is not Nazi Germany. And back in January, I joined a group of Holocaust survivors calling on the state government to ban the Nazi salute. And I said to Premier Daniel Andrews, the time for talking is over. Now is the time to act.
What should a ban look like? Well,
last year, the government came through, took the high moral ground, and actually heeded my calls. I had been running a campaign for the last 5 years, urging the state government to ban the Nazi swastika. Yeah. And now there is a penalty of imprisonment. I think the same thing should be done. And I think it's very important for your viewers to reflect on what the Nazi salute represents. It represents the extermination of more than 1.1 million children, 1.5 million children. It represents the liquidation of 6 million Jews and millions of others, the shooting of families in open fields. What we ignore, we empower. And I think that we here, not just in Victoria, but I think across the country, need to understand that a democracy is not just about the rights that we have. Yeah. It's also about what we're willing to tolerate.
So should there be, I don't know, bans? And how do you? I mean, we all know what the salute is, but I'm devil's advocate here. What's the workaround? Is the reason why there's reticence from the government when it comes to salute? Is it, I don't know, somewhat similar to a wave? Are there workarounds there?
No, I don't think there's any confusion here. I think there's very moral clarity. We heard from the Police Association. I've spoken to many police and I've spoken to many elected representatives. I think it's a no-brainer. Yeah. For example, if we had the law in place, yesterday those thugs standing on the steps of Parliament House would have been arrested. They would have been either moved on or they would have been arrested.
So why is there an
unequivocal message here?
Sure, I'm with you, but why is there reticence to not ban it?
I think that over the last few years, we've seen the monster of racism and hatred being unleashed on the streets of Melbourne. And there is a realization that this is a problem from hell that we can't run or hide from, and that we have to confront it. I've said it before, and I want to say it on your program. This is a battle between good and evil. It is about the garden of our democracy being infected with the weeds of intolerance. And this is a battle, this is a war that we have to win. And I'm hoping that over the next few months, the government, the opposition has already indicated here in Victoria that they will support this law. The government does the right thing. It honors not just the brave diggers, but also the victims and, of course, the Holocaust survivors. For a Holocaust survivor, imagine if there was a Holocaust survivor yesterday, seeing the Nazi salute, a survivor that may have lost his children, his parents. For them, it's being as threatening as being faced with a gun. Yeah. It tears a hole in their heart. And therefore, the government has to step in.
Just finally here, Doctor, just on the government there, or the opposition rather, Moira Leeming. She was at the rally, but she was supporting women's rights. That's what she says. But the event was gate-crashed by those Nazis. She's condemned their actions, but there is now a move from the opposition leader to still expel her from the party. Is it fair that she should be expelled from the party for another person's or people's actions?
Look, I don't presume to know what's going on in the Liberal parties, in the coalitions, in a party room, but I'll say this. Any elected representative who is associated with a group or a movement which has bigotry or racism or intolerance, which prejudices any ethnic minority, any religious minority, any minority that has a sexual orientation or a gender orientation, should be condemned. And I think that Moira has to look into her heart, she has to reflect on her values and to ask herself, should she have been at that rally? And the fact that it was gatecrashed by the neo-Nazis only adds fuel to the fire.
Well, I mean, that's the point, though, isn't it? That the Nazis there, they weren't supposed to be a part of it. So in effect, from what I can tell, she's being blamed for something that someone else did. Is that fair on her, that she gets kicked out of the party for that?
Again, I'm not going to step into political decisions, but I will tell you that the neo-Nazis hate anyone who is different. They hate anybody who doesn't fit into their Aryan worldview, and we should be living in a state whereby difference is celebrated. It doesn't become a liability, and I've often come out and supported any group which is different, because our diversity is what makes us stronger.
Sure. Okay, Doctor, appreciate your time. Thank you. Talk to you again soon. Let's get a check of the weather now with Rob Sharp.